Arcane Season 2 just dropped on Netflix. Been waiting so long for it, and it's finally here. This is going to be my reaction and review to it. The first 3 episodes of Season 2, and I'm going to do the review on next batch of releases and then the final one. So just finishing it a moment ago. It's so interesting to be reminded from the first frame how incredible this art style is. Physically painting and drawing with CG, and it's an incredible art style. And, so much so that even like seeing other computer animated works and animations in between the release of season 1 and season 2 and then coming back to it and seeing it again, this beautiful style, it really is a cut above everything else that you'll see. And it's interesting now to kind of see this established visual style, even musical editing style of Arcane. The sort of ultimate scene of these first 3 episodes. It's a perfect example of how the Arcane style kind of sets itself above. You have this just smorgasbord of beautiful editing and almost now a nostalgic style to see, right? Because in the first season of Arcane, they sort of established this visual style. To come back to it, it is almost nostalgic to see this incredible fight choreography and fight scene. Camera movement is so sharp, it's so punchy, everything is so calculated, intercut with a separate scene, beautiful transitions, beautiful match cuts as we have Vi versus Jinx. Of course, this big sort of ultimate rivalry finally coming to a head in episode 3. This is intercut with, you have Jace's character who's dealing with this, insane, almost kind of otherworldly element, which is reaching out and kind of blending and morphing with the world. It's actually affecting the fight scene with Vi versus Jinx and Caitlyn. It's just a beautiful sequence. But the way they sort of edit in this sort of music video style, using songs with lyrics, intercut to the transitions to the fight choreography and everything. It's such a maximal display of beautiful storyboarding, beautiful editing, the writing, the character work, everything coming together. So that, of course, is one of the standout scenes for me in this season. I really like the character work in general, of course, too. The writing is just so well done. The lighting is a major standout, just like the first season, of course. It's just so well carved out, so well painted. The background's painstakingly constructed, and sort of the characters' visages individually painted per scene. It's incredible work to kind of showcase the different set pieces, the different environments, the different color choices. It really is just a feast in all respects. So that was one of the standout scenes for me. Of course, this ultimate clash between Vi and Jinx, which it's almost bittersweet too. It's interesting to see their characters sort of twisted around in this way. Sort of the both mature in the fact that Vi has decided that she has to, go against her sister because she's become pure evil, versus Jinx, who's almost immature in a way. She's almost sort of devolved below where she was as a child, and just not caring about anything. It's like pure chaos. But the same could also be said in reverse for the two, right? So it's a really interesting character moment. And then, of course, the Vi and Caitlyn relationship sort of developing and building up and then crumbling and stuff. Oh, it's just so juicy. I love the stuff with Mel and Jace and the council as well. I thought that was really well done. And just to kind of showcase how scary it can be in the midst of chaos, people can get really worked up very quickly and very upset and very driven to essentially war, right? So it's very scary to see that. And at the same time, you have Mel trying to be the voice of reason, but she knows her mother is just so dangerous and is so calculated in what she's doing. We have this new threat with Mel's mother and this kind of dark flower, the assassins and everything. It's very awesome sequences. Something I really love about Arcane is we talked about the lighting, but the color use. The color use is on display here. Again, we have these sort of color coordinated images per nation and per power. For example, we have the sauce, the juice that Silco manufactured in sort of the underbelly of the world. And then we have the Hextech and this sort of visual representation of that with the purples and pinks for Silco's creations. And then the blue kind of Hextech electricity and sort of almost technological magic effect. It's just so easily identifiable and it's so readable, right? The readability is very high, which is so important in a show like this with all these moving parts. It's been years since I watched this fully. Of course, I love the first season, but to watch it all through, to come back and just have those like visual cues, it's like, oh, that's right. That's the bright purple pink substance that represents this power. Oh, the hex tech, of course, beyond like the machines themselves, there's this kind of image of the color that brings to mind. And then, like I said, well, we have this sort of enemy of Mel's nation, these sort of assassins that are coming for her family, this deep red, right? So it's just instantly sort of identifiable, and it has sort of built out that that's going to be the identity for this. And it's just, beyond all of that sort of categorization, it's very beautiful to look at, right? So it just serves so many different purposes. So I love that. We mentioned the editing, the music. The music is absolutely incredible this round too. The editing style that they use with it, again, the sort of music video, there's a lot of montages in Arcane. That's why I love the first season so much. Man, shows don't use a good montage anymore, and it's a shame. I think it's sort of, this sort of postmodern idea of let's do away with all of the conventions of film, and let's strip it all away, and let's have just the sort of reality, the bare bones existence of these characters, and let's make it feel so real, like you're in the room, which is great. But what I love is this sort of unabashed use of montage in a way that emphasizes character. It's not just for sort of visual or plot devices. It's really a showcase without words, feelings that the characters are going through. And the sort of use of the lyrics interwoven into the scene is really top notch. It's really amazing. I'm a big fan of montages as far as my favorite works as well. So just to see it all coming together was really, really beautiful. And as far as the pacing, so I've heard, and please chat, remind me if I'm wrong on this, I've heard that this was going to be a multiple seasons project, and they actually condensed it into 2, and they said, we're going to finish it in 2. We're going to end Arcane after season 2. So I think it was going to be 3 seasons, maybe more. And I was having a conversation with Aaliyah as we're watching it, and it's like, I feel like you can almost see it, especially in the finale of episode 3, you can almost see that it was supposed to be longer, because, I mean, the idea of Caitlyn being raised to a general, I think, is such a cool idea amidst the sort of radicalization of everyone. And that's really the word for this season is radicalization of all the characters because of the events that are happening to them. And they're kind of stuck in these fated paths that they feel like they can't shake from. And I really like how they're doing that. But yes, this idea, I feel like you could almost have used that as a finale to season 2. It was that powerful and that shocking of a turn for the character. For me, who hasn't played League of Legends, again, I don't know the characters beyond just some of the cinematics we've reacted to on the channel and broken down here. So it was really cool to see. It was really cool to see that, and I feel like it almost feels rushed, but it doesn't. It's still well done to the point where I feel like it's paid off with the timing. Like, I got enough time to sit with Caitlyn and Vi as they're kind of going through this stuff, but it's definitely, unless I'm wrong, I haven't seen it in a couple of years, it feels very streamlined from the sort of pacing of season 1, which is not a bad thing. I think, in fact, it's just kind of showing the progression of the story beats. And, okay, we've established everything in season 1. We don't need to introduce who these people are in season 2, right? We're getting right into it. And that is certainly happening in season 2. It is steamrolling along. So it excites me for episodes 4 through 9 to kind of imagine just how far the plot is going to go, because this is going to be it. It's all going to tie up. So that being said, they do have to push it very far forward in the first 3 episodes. I had hoped not at the expense, and I remember saying this before with the old trailer for season 2, not at the expense of that beautifully crafted pacing of the first season. And I will say, I think it's great. It just feels like we're moving towards the finale, which is very good. And I think it's going to be a fantastic season. Everything that I've seen so far is great. There's a couple of shots that really stood out. The particularly first scene where Vi and Caitlyn sort of reunite at the beginning of the season. Beautiful scene with these windows and archways, and they're using the frame very, very fully. For example, they have Vi really just kind of tiny in the frame inside this one window, breaking up the pattern of the shot of these arches. And it's just, really, really beautiful stuff to show her sort of loneliness, having lost her family, her sister, and having to turn against her and sort of take the fight to her, realizing what her sister has done, killed all these people. And it was really cool to see. And then to kind of play with them coming together in that lonely frame was really special. And then again, their sort of loneliness of their relationship, because it's like this weird, there's tension on both sides, but they love each other and they're stuck in between, right? So there's the other scene where they're on the staircase and they kiss. It was a great scene, and I like how they were isolated in this sort of like stairway underground, and it's like they almost don't even get to enjoy it, the moment, because they're on like a mission to the death, essentially, and I like that. There's so much tension everywhere. They can't really find purchase for their relationship and for their feelings, which I think is what made the first season romantic development so powerful. It wasn't overstated. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't just sort of almost like fan servicey. It's been really, I think, sort of realistically displayed and stretched out. So I thought that was fantastic. There was another standout scene. And of course, the fight choreography, right? I love, there was a couple of action sequences which were good. The first one with the guys and the like big, it was the attack on the memorial. Very great scene. I love how they built tension there. But my favorite is, of course, the Vi versus Jinx, and they just did it in this exceptional way. Like I said, transitions, match cuts to the scene with Jace, which was kind of cool to include. It makes it all connected. But there was so many just like clashes, and I love how we're rotating the camera, the sort of camera choreography of the scene, and then we keep kind of speed ramping and slowing down as they're just kind of opposed against each other in the frame. It's very powerful stuff. And then boom, they would clash. And something I like about the fight too is it was kind of filthy. It was kind of dirty and raw. They're just boom, just slamming on each other. It was very sort of emotionally charged, a very passionate fight. It wasn't this kind of like clean, okay, duel, we're going to set up, we're going to do it. The different fighting styles and the sort of martial styles of the two characters are so different. It was cool to watch. It's sort of like trap fighting with Jinx versus just like brawler style of Vi was really well done. Caitlyn getting, and if I remember, remind me, League of Legends lore masters, Caitlyn getting her kind of signature weapon that I've seen, I think, in some of the cinematics. It's kind of like morphing gun rifle. And then, yeah, there's a lot of awesome stuff. And again, lore masters, let me know on this. It seems like we're getting more of that sort of unabashed connectedness and sort of openness to saying, yes, this is how that happened in League of Legends, or this is where that came from, or like how they got this item and everything, which I love. I think that's really fun. Sort of not overindulgent origin display of all the different artifacts and items and stuff and weapons. So it's very good. But yeah, again, standouts are the music, the lighting, the color use. It's always been crazy in Arcane. They brought it back. And of course, beyond all that, just the animation style is so unbelievable to see in motion. And it's just like, you have to appreciate the amount of work that goes into every frame. And having seen some of the behind the scenes now, which I want to watch a lot more if it's out there, grasping fairly well, understanding how they did it now. Oh my goodness, just so much work. An incredible feat of art, period. And it's funny, me and Ali were watching it, and we kept saying, this was her thought a couple of years ago. She's like, oh, I'd love to see the Stormlight Archive in this style. I would love to see Mistborn in this style. These are some of Sanderson's books. He said he plans on doing live action of those, which is great. But man, I feel like they would also be really good in this style. Anyways, just a throwaway comment, but let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with what I'm saying? How do you feel about the pacing? I think it's good. I think they are moving towards it. We have to see the rest of the season to kind of have a final thought on that, but ooh, it's powerful. And this the stuff with Victor, I didn't even touch on. The stuff with Victor was amazing. This kind of saintly feel, this healing figure, I thought was really cool. And it kind of adds another dimension to him, having been someone who's like, I should have died. Why did you use this monstrous do we even call it technology to save me? And then he finds another purpose, which is I kind of leave myself behind and go and heal people. I thought that was really fun. And to see these people, these poor people who were like kind of punished by Silco and given essentially the sauce, got addicted to it and stuck. So it's really cool to see maybe he can be a middle ground for the two factions and everything. So I'm very curious about that. And of course, Mel, it's really great to see Mel. We had hoped that she had lived, and not just because Aaliyah has a world famous cosplay of Mel, but also because it's just a really interesting character, and you don't typically see characters like that at all. So it's really awesome. But anyways, I loved it. I will have more thoughts on the next batch of episodes. Let me know if you agree or not, and I would love to hear your thoughts either way. But fantastic work. I just can't say enough about it. Fantastic work. If you enjoy this talk, you want to have more of a conversation with me, make sure to hit the subscribe button, hop into our Discord if you want to join the community, and follow on Twitch. I'll talk to you guys very soon.